Hi, my name is Leah Yetter. I'm a program manager with MANNA FoodBank, and I help manage the MANNA Food Helpline. Our program assists clients with access to food and food resources in Western North Carolina and beyond. Welcome to Spotlight on SNAP. SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps. SNAP benefits can supplement a household income, decrease food insecurity, and help alleviate poverty issues. Food security is defined as access by all people at all times to enough food for an active, healthy lifestyle. What we know about SNAP is that seniors, 1 out of 14 in the US, are food insecure. This can mean making a choice between buying life saving medications or eating healthy foods. We know that food insecure seniors consume lower quality quantities of key nutrients, and this means that food insecure seniors are worse off than their peers. That can mean things like 3 times higher likelihood of depression, 78% higher likelihood of asthma, 75% more likely to be diabetic, and 71% more likely to have congestive heart failure. These are real health issues, and healthy food can help solve those. So, join me in welcoming the team here. And I'd like each one of you on our panel to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, where you work, and what your experience is with SNAP and SNAP for seniors. And I'll turn it over to Robert.
Hi, my name is Robert Barkley. I am a navigator for the Council on Aging in Buncombe County. The Council on Aging is a 501c3 organization. It was established in 1964. We provide 10,000 services a year to individuals. Our vision at the Council on Aging is to provide a community where everyone has the opportunity to age successfully. We have services from assistance with SNAP applications, Medicaid, we have Medicare counseling, different ride services and things. So I would encourage you, besides just the SNAP information, to maybe check us out on the website at councilonaging.org. It's actually coabc.org. And my name is Robert Barkley.
Excellent. Let's move on to Jason.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Jason Turnbull. I work with MANNA FoodBank here in Asheville, and I'm our lead SNAP outreach coordinator. I've had the pleasure of helping people with food stamp applications now for about 11 years, and I'm really excited to join this conversation today.
Excellent.
Thanks, Jason. My name is Justine Redden, and I am a benefits outreach coordinator at MANNA FoodBank. So I work on our food helpline, and I assist with the SNAP enrollment process. Many of those folks are seniors who are on a fixed income. So it brings me a lot of joy to be able to offer this resource for those folks.
Excellent. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you to the panel for joining us. So again, our focus is Spotlight on SNAP, and we're addressing issues regarding seniors and SNAP benefits. And I just want to welcome everyone to this. And we're going to start out just by asking some general questions to our panelists. And we certainly want anyone who's watching to chime in with comments. You can feel free to put your question in the comment section, and then every so often we'll just kind of look at those comments and we'll address them as we go. So the first question, and these questions were generated by this panel and by others who work with seniors and helping them assess SNAP benefits. And so these are some of the kind of the common issues and things that come up and things that they've heard. And so we think it's really important to address these specific questions. Feel free to ask any other questions as they come up. So the first question is, if I'm a senior, how can I save my benefits, or do I have to use them right away each month? And I will shoot that to Jason.
I'd be happy to answer this one. You don't necessarily have to save your benefit. In other words, it does roll over. So any unspent SNAP benefit from, let's say, the month of October is available in November, along with November's benefit that was issued then. So benefits can roll over for up to 364 days, so up to 1 year before they would theoretically disappear. So if I had an unused SNAP benefit from January of 2021, that particular benefit could disappear in January of 2022. But the simple answer to that question is no. The benefits won't disappear if they're not used right away.
So that's great, Jason. So that means that if I have benefits so in the summer I was getting food from my garden, but I had SNAP benefits and I didn't use them all, I could save those up or some of those as I go through my vegetable garden, and I'm able to use those benefits, like say for a Thanksgiving meal or some holiday event where I'm maybe spending more on food. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's actually a pretty good strategy.
And I think that's pretty common, actually. I've had a lot of clients that have saved up SNAP benefits and have used them just for that, maybe a big holiday meal that they otherwise wouldn't be able to afford with their family. So that's a nice benefit.
That is a really nice benefit. Um, okay, so you won't lose your benefits for up to 364 days, which is great to know. So throughout that whole year. Um, so some of the things that come up and questions that come up are, is it really worth it? It's a lot of paperwork, or handling an online application seems too much work. Is that true? And are there resources out there for seniors?
I'll be happy to answer this question too. And this one is a challenging question. I mean, in my 11 years experience doing this work, I've basically been asked this several times. My answer is yes, it is worth it. Um, and yes, the application process can be a little grueling. For someone that's new to the process, it can be a little intimidating sometimes.
Sure.
It's a 8-page application. It's very densely written in what I would call legalese, and it's not really written in accessible or really easy to understand language either. But it definitely is worth it, and there are resources out there to help. My job, my full-time job at MANNA, and the job of my colleagues here at our SNAP outreach team here at MANNA is to help people with the application process. So we really take the time to make the application process easy, to kind of boil it down to the essentials, um, and help people in a friendly, straightforward manner. Um, we typically can help somebody complete an application from start to finish in probably about 20 minutes. We also support other pieces of the application process, so we can certainly, when I'm working in the field with the general public, I can complete their application for them, have them sign it, copy in their supporting documents, maybe like their photo ID, proof of their household bills, etc., and attach those to the document and submit the application directly for them to Buncombe County or their county DSS office. In a very similar process we do over our helpline, where we help people really throughout the state of North Carolina with food stamp applications over the phone. Again, we really try to make that process easy, and it really just takes about 20 minutes.
Excellent. Robert or Justine, do you have anything to add?
I know at the Council on Aging, we even during COVID, we'll meet clients just about anywhere to complete the SNAP application. We try to make it as painless as possible on the client. So we'll take a scanner with us and scan all the supporting documents and things like that. So there is a lot of assistance out there in the community to fill these out.
That's excellent. So it sounds like MANNA FoodBank and Council on Aging do a great job of supporting
Sure.
seniors getting an application completed. It sounds like you are able to work with them in person or over the phone. Do they need a computer if they're getting assistance applying, or if they're applying on their own?
No, you do not need a computer to be able to apply for SNAP, which is why our helpline is a great resource, because we can help folks that are interested in applying do that completely over the phone. And then the follow-up steps on that person's end are completely through mail. And then again, as Robert spoke to, if you are having trouble getting some of your supporting documents together, which aside from interpreting the actual application, oftentimes getting all of the supporting documents and your bills together is one of the most challenging aspects of completing the application. So we're very grateful that COA is a resource for that. And then if you don't want to do it over the phone, then we would also be happy to mail you a blank application as well, if you would prefer to look at it and fill it out yourself.
Excellent. That's a great resource. So another question that a senior may have is, I'm retired. I don't work. Does that matter in applying for food stamp benefits, for SNAP benefits?
No, you do not have to be working to be able to receive SNAP benefits. There was previously an ABOD work requirement in place. It's now waived due to COVID. Anyhow, that did not apply to seniors. So you can be retired, you can be receiving Social Security and or disability and still potentially qualify for benefits.
Okay. And what if I'm on Medicare while I'm retired and receiving my Social Security? Does that affect my ability to get benefits?
It does not. There's still potential for you to qualify for benefits.
Excellent, excellent. If you're just joining us on our Spotlight on SNAP for seniors, I wanted to welcome you and let you know that we're discussing SNAP benefits, or Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, through the state of North Carolina, which can help reduce food insecurity and alleviate poverty issues and address folks who live on a fixed income like Social Security, and really help you benefit in the holidays if you need more food resources. So we're going to continue on with our questions with our panel, Justine Redden, Robert Barclay, and Jason Turnbull. The next question we have is, so if I own my own home, will that affect my ability to qualify?
The answer to that is no. There were some old rules in place years and years ago around asset limits and the total value of assets someone can own and still qualify. And way back then, and at this point, I'm talking like 20 years ago or so, if you owned a home or maybe a vehicle, you might not qualify due to having too much in assets. But these days, those asset limits have been waived, so that no, home ownership is not a barrier to SNAP enrollment or SNAP participation. Car ownership is not a barrier to participation in the program.
Excellent, excellent. So, how do I know if I qualify? And how much would I potentially get in benefits? And how often do I receive those benefits?
So there are three key factors that DSS takes into consideration when determining your eligibility. So that comes down to how many people are in the household. So what that means is how many people are going to be on your SNAP application, and then the total gross monthly income for that household. So how much everybody on that application makes before taxes are taken out. And then DSS also has some allowable bills that they will take into consideration with your income. So most commonly, these are going to look like rent or a mortgage, any additional bills that come with owning a mortgage, such as property tax, utilities, and then for seniors or those with disabilities, medical expenses count. So those are the three primary factors that DSS takes into consideration to determine, first of all, if you're eligible, and then second of all, what your benefit amount will be. So there's not really a clear-cut answer on how much you would get. as up to DSS, again, depending on your income, your bills, and people in the household. And then if you do qualify for benefits, then those are administered on what is called an electronic benefit transfer card. It's kind of like a debit card. It's in replacement of what used to be the literal stamps. And you get those allotted every month.
Excellent, excellent. That's some great information.
Yeah.
So, does someone else have anything
Oh,
they
I was
wanted to
just going to
comment?
say this might be a good time to talk about the turnaround time for an application. And Jason, you might be able to speak a little bit better than I can. After I fill out the application, sometimes I don't really hear from that point forward what happened. It used to be about 30 days. Is that still the case?
It is. Excellent question, Robert. And yes, state and federal law dictate that in North Carolina, it should not take any more than 30 days to process an application. And at least here in our local counties, I'm pleased to say that generally it doesn't take any more than 30 days. They're really, it's very important to the Department of Social Services, the agency in the county that's approving food stamp applications, that they process them in a timely manner. So they start a clock the day an application comes across their desk or enters their office, and they do everything in their power to approve that application within no more than 30 days. And these are calendar days from the date the application was received. There's also a provision around emergency or expeditable benefits that says that in some cases, like for instance, if the applicant were to have no income or very, very low income, they might qualify for what's known as expedited benefits, where their application, according to state law, would be processed within no more than 7 calendar days.
Great. Right.
Excellent. So we have a quick question that came in through the comments, and please, anyone watching, if you have comments or questions, go ahead and put them in our comment section, and we'll address them as they come up. So the question that came up is right there. If I apply for SNAP, how long will I receive benefits?
That is,
Go ahead, Jason.
That's an excellent question as well. A very common question with the public: how long will my benefits last? In essence, it kind of depends. I'd say the bulk of SNAP recipients, folks are set to recertify for 6 months, meaning they're enrolled for a period of 6 months, and after that, they do a little a recertification document that keeps the benefit going for another 6 months, and that's usually for folks that have maybe variable income that can vary from month to month, like working a job with maybe 30 hours one week, 40 hours the other week. For most of our seniors, the answer to that question, how long my benefits last, is usually 1 year, in some cases 2 years. So I think they make a few assumptions with senior applicants that the income is stable, and consistent, and doesn't change month to month. And likewise, that housing expenses, etc., are also likely stable and don't change very much month to month. So seniors are in a fortunate position where they really only have to address the paperwork usually once per year, and in some cases once every 2 years.
Excellent, thank you. And another question along those same lines is, so after a year, what happens? Do they have to reapply going through the whole application, or is it a streamlined process that's shorter? And can Council on Aging or MANNA help with that reapplication? Justine, I'll shoot that to you for at least MANNA's perspective.
So, from my understanding, after a full year, you do have to go through the application process entirely again, not just the recertification. Jason or Robert, please correct me if I'm wrong, but that is my understanding.
I think that in most cases, once an initial application is approved, at that point, as long as everything's turned in on time, It's just a recertification and a recertification again. So, which does also, I mean, that helps a lot because the initial application is 8 pages and pretty dense, and it requires a lot of information or whatever. The recertification document is easier. It's shorter. It's 4 pages, requires a lot less information. Um, and once you're basically enrolled in the program, at that point they know, kind of the basics of your financial situation, and it's really just you can think of it almost as like a periodic update, periodically checking in to make sure, okay, are we still talking about roughly the same income level, roughly the same amount of bills, and is the household compensation, the number of persons in the household, still the same? So a recertification, in my experience, is a good bit easier. It's quicker. Um, DSS offices do a good job of mailing it out to program recipients, letting them know, hey, it's time to recertify, fill out this form, sign it, and mail it back into us. And that's likely all that you'll need to do. Um, and usually people get those in the mail. Occasionally, if you've changed address or if DSS does not have a good current address on file for you, it can kind of sneak up on you, which is a terrible surprise to find out that your benefits that you might be depending on are no longer active that month. But there is also kind of a grace period to work a late recertification in, get it in on time to keep that benefit going.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you, so there's a recertification process, and is it the same time frame for everyone, or does it vary? Is it not a year? Is it 6 months, or is it 18 months?
It's usually for like 80% of SNAP recipients, it's every 6 months.
Okay.
Again, for those people with variable income that could change month to month, or people that, have a paycheck or whatever. For most seniors, I would say for virtually all seniors, the certification period is extended from 6 months to 1 year, and in some cases even 2 years.
Okay, and then they're let know that by getting a letter from DSS or the Department of Social Services in their county. So it is really important then for seniors to make sure that DSS has their current address. Is that correct? And is that an easy thing to update?
Absolutely. And yes, they're very happy to work with you over the phone. So if you were to move and change addresses, you could certainly just call it in and let them know, hey, I've changed from address A to address B. And likewise, updating a phone number or whatever, it's pretty easy to do over the phone.
And that's
Excellent.
that's a call that we would normally get when somebody does get paperwork as far as recertification. They'll call and say, "Hey, I just got this paperwork," and then we're there for them for that as well because although it's not as confusing, they do sometimes have questions that we can answer for.
Great. Great. Another question came in on the comment section. Can someone receive a SNAP benefits while also receiving Social Security income? I have a friend who receives SSDI or Supplemental Security Disability Income. Could they potentially qualify?
Yes, they could. Again, it depends on how much SSDI they are receiving, but just by receiving SSDI, that does not in and of itself disqualify you completely. It'll just depend on the dollar amount in which you are receiving.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. And again, if you're just joining us, you're joining us Spotlight on SNAP, dealing with SNAP benefits for seniors in our community. And I'm joined with Jason Turnbull of MANNA FoodBank, Robert Barclay of Council on Aging, and Justine Rennan of MANNA FoodBank. And we have another question that just came in through the comment section. I will address this to either Jason or Robert or both of you. My parents are homebound and have been using grocery delivery services to get their groceries. Are there any grocery delivery services that accept SNAP benefits? Jason, if you want to start.
Sure. Yes, to my understanding, there are at least two online grocery delivery services that can deliver that accept SNAP as a form of payment, or EBT, as Justine mentioned, electronic benefit transfer. Uh, and those two are Walmart, or Walmart.com, and Amazon, or Amazon.com. So you can use your SNAP card to purchase groceries online with at least those two organizations. And I understand that they will both also deliver groceries for folks that might be homebound, or might have other health concerns or whatever.
Yeah, it's a great service. I do have a couple clients that use, I believe it's Amazon, and they have pretty good luck with them. So it's a nice service, nice option for them.
That's very convenient, especially
Sure.
if you don't drive and need to get assistance driving, that you could have groceries delivered to you, especially during the holidays when
Mhm.
our weather could potentially turn bad. So
Right.
that's a real great option. Um, you keep mentioning the EBT card, electronic benefit transfer card. And I think, Justine, you said that it's a lot like a debit card. I get really confused if I'm a senior using my credit card, debit card, card. How simple is it to use? And how do I get it? Do they send it to me in the mail, or do I have to pick that up? What's that process like?
So DSS, if you are approved, they will send you your EBT card in the mail. And much like a debit or a credit card, you call the number that is on the back of your card and you activate a PIN. And that's it. You're ready to use your EBT at pretty much any grocery store. So it's fairly simple to set up. And also, that number on the back of the card is a great resource for if you are unsure of how much benefits you have left in the month. You can call that number and check.
Excellent. Thank you. We have another comment that came in from Kay Henry. I don't use SNAP, but ran into this. SNAP at grocery stores. I did an order online at Publix, and they indicated they do welcome SNAP for ordering online. So thank you, Kay.
Mhm.
We appreciate that information. So now we've got
Thank
a
you for
couple of
that.
resources. Yeah. Now I know, so you can order online and you can have groceries delivered. Are there other places that you can use your EBT card other than the grocery store or some of these online resources?
I would say yes. In my experience, virtually any place that sells food groceries these days is accepting the EBT card or the SNAP card. So um, certainly your large box stores, Walmarts, your regional grocery stores like around here, maybe it's Ingles or whatever, Publix. Um, but there are also a number of other places that are happy to accept the card too. Most convenience stores, gas stations, if they sell food, then they usually will accept EBT as a form of payment for that food. And I'm really happy to say that virtually all the farmers markets in the area also accept EBT transactions. And there are even a number of those in the area that sometimes will offer like a double bucks program where $1 in SNAP purchase can render $2 worth of produce. So a wonderful way to use that benefit and not only support local farmers and local agriculture, but also put some really healthy local food on your table.
Excellent, excellent.
I have two things to add to that.
Great.
So just for clarification, I don't know if the big WNC farmers market off of Brevard Road accepts SNAP or not. I was recently on a call with a group of seniors, and I think they had tried SNAP there, and it yeah, I'm pretty sure that they were not accepting that. So maybe that's something that we'll have to look into. But several other farmers markets, certainly in Buncombe County, as Jason said, they do accept SNAP. A number of them do offer the double SNAP dollar program, and that is for any food available at the market, anything that's edible. So it's not just fruits and vegetables. That could be meat, dairy, eggs, bread, even fruit, vegetable, and herb starts for your garden.
That is great to know. We have some great farmers markets around the area, and that's a really great place to get healthy foods. Just kind of going back to some of that information I talked about earlier, not having enough money to buy foods usually means foregoing healthy foods because we know those cost more. So that's a really great benefit. I thank you for that information.
Leah, I'd like to chime in just for a moment
Please
on
do. Please do.
something Justine just said, that you can buy plant starts, plant seeds and plant starts with SNAP. And so it's not just food that's ready to eat. It could be a future food that could be ready to eat a little bit later in the season. But I know several folks, and a few of them are seniors who really love to garden, take pride in getting an early start in the year, and that's a wonderful way to stretch an otherwise fairly limited resource to buy a few tomato starts or whatever with a very meager purchase that can put you in covered up in tomatoes, in August, September, or whatever. But yeah, I'm really happy that not just food ready to eat or take home from the grocery store, but also seeds and starts are also available for purchase.
Absolutely, and that goes to, folks who have the ability to garden. That increases their physical activity and health benefits, not only of eating the excellent produce, but of just the act of gardening, because we know that's a really healthy way to keep in shape with limited impact. So that's great. So some questions come up around the benefits and people ask, so I've heard that folks that I know only get $16 or $25 a month. Is that true? And, what's the benefit of that?
One of the benefits, like we were talking about before, is the ability for it to roll over. So although it doesn't seem like a lot of money each time, it adds up. So there's a benefit there.
Absolutely.
I'd try to answer this question in a couple pieces here. One, so there is a range, right? Going back to how much will I receive as a food stamp benefit or a SNAP benefit, there's a known range, and $16 is the minimum on the bottom of that scale. But for one person right now, it can go up to as high as $250. So if a household of one is approved, they're likely or they're going to receive a benefit somewhere between $16 a month and as high as $250 a month. The more bills that it's kind of a complicated formula in terms of how much an individual person is going to receive as a benefit. It basically boils down to, or at least for a household of one, total income coming in and bills paid out or allowable bills paid out. So if someone were to receive just that minimum of $16, I would think that they've got income on the higher end of the scale and bills on the lower end of the scale. And then if you were to flip that and say, okay, very minimal income and high bills, they're likely going to receive that maximum amount of up to 250. I'm also really happy to let everybody know that right now, because of the COVID virus effect on the national economy, all food stamp recipients are currently receiving the maximum benefit amount. So that means that every one person household is currently receiving as of now, $250 a month in total monthly benefit. It's a little confusing because it comes in as two different payments, two different times of the month. But if you add those two payments up at the end of the month, it would total $250. We don't know how long those what they call the COVID supplement will last, but I can tell you it's been in effect for this entire year, the entire year of 2021 so far, and it's a month to month decision that they're making at the state level. There's definitely a correlation between how COVID is continuing to affect the national economy and when they'll make this change. But my personal opinion is that we're very likely going to see this COVID supplement continue through this year, through this entire calendar year, and very likely on into the spring. So right now, everybody's currently getting the maximum of $250 a month.
That's great
Every one person
information.
helps them. Mhm.
I just want to add to that. In my experience, especially when I go out into the field and do outreach and talk directly with folks in person one-on-one, a lot of seniors who say they're already receiving SNAP, it's only $16 a month. I think that just goes to show a lot of people do not know that this maximum benefit allotment is in play. So please, again, utilize that number on the back of your EBT
Yes.
card. It's really simple. You call it, you dial your PIN, that's it. You'll get your amount. So if you were receiving $16 a month and you were only spending around that much, then it's likely you're going to have a large accumulation. So a couple months ago, I was actually on a call with a senior woman who was looking for pantry help because she said she only gets $16 a month. And I asked her if I could check her balance on her behalf. She had been letting it roll over, kind of like what we were talking about. And she had over $700 of benefits that were just totally unutilized, and she was in shock. So if you have not checked your balance, please do so.
Wow. Wow, that's important to know. That was going to be one of my questions. How do you know if I save up my benefits? If I'm planning to have my family, I'm finally getting to visit with my family and they're coming here and I'm going to cook for them. How do I know how much I have on my EBT card? Thank you for answering that question, Justine. I think that's important. We did have another question come up regarding the $16 a month. Are there any guides or resources on how to effectively use $16 a month if you choose to use those each month?
I've seen a guide out there. You guys might have it. I don't have it on hand now, but it nicely breaks down the cost of basic groceries with the $16 in mind. So
Sure.
there is a guide out there. I just don't have it right in front of me right now.
Yeah. Well, I think that even if you do choose to use $16 a month, maybe that goes toward, your annual or your monthly baking supply. So you get, a big bag of flour and yeast or whatever it is you do or cook, or you buy, several canned goods that are on sale that you use frequently, canned beans or things like that, canned vegetables like tomatoes. Sure.
Or if you went to a food pantry and there's one or two items that you really would have loved to have seen in your food box, but you didn't get, then you can use your $16 to put towards that at the grocery store.
That's great. That's a great point, Justine. So if I have SNAP benefits, can I still utilize pantry services in my community?
Absolutely. I personally am always encouraging folks to couple the two. Because oftentimes, maybe not so much with the maximum benefit allotment happening right now, but previously, when it was, whether it's $16 a month or a family of four that their SNAP benefits just don't make it through the entire month, I always encourage people to supplement with a food pantry or a mobile market as well.
Excellent.
And I've got one more point about the minimum amount or the $16 a month amount, because certainly I've been doing this 11 years. So the most of the time I've been doing this, they haven't had this COVID supplement in place, and have talked with, helped loads of seniors apply for benefits, and some of them winding up with a small amount like that. But one common, I guess, misunderstanding or misconception is in terms of the allowable bills that DSS would count, kind of against one's income in determining a benefit amount. If you're over the age of 60 or legally disabled, you can count any and all out-of-pocket medical expenses. And here I really mean any and all. It would be not just your basic prescription cost at the pharmacy every month or every 3 months, not just co-payments to the doctor or other medical facilities, but could be dentures, hearing aids, eyeglasses, contact lenses, any medical specialist. Um, a lot of times, if a doctor recommends you eat a certain regimen of vitamins or whatever, those would count. If you're blind and maybe have a seeing eye dog, the veterinary care for that eye dog, as well as training classes or courses, all of that would count effectively, sort of like deductions on your taxes. It would count as a deduction against your income. And that really, in my experience, really can make the difference, especially for a senior, um, moving them from just $16 a month up somewhere much closer to maybe $116 a month, if not more, is proving the out-of-pocket medical expenses. Something like maybe contacting your pharmacy and asking for a printout of a 1-year payment history for all pharmacy transactions. Um, Contacting a doctor's office for a 1-year printout or a statement of all in-person visits and those costs. And I tell people to try to keep their receipts even for over-the-counter items like aspirin, pain relievers, all those types of things can count as long as you can document how much it's costing you.
That's excellent information.
Mhm.
Excellent information. Another question that we hear frequently is, am I taking away from others if I apply for food stamps? I'm on a fixed income, but I can get by. I can have a little bit less. So if I don't take those benefits, will that give to others who are more in need than I am?
So
Jason?
I'm happy to field this one. I'm asked this one quite a lot too, and I would say no. You're not taking a benefit away from anyone else, whether they might need it more than you or not. Um, Effectively, it's in other words, it's not like a fixed pie with only 8 pieces, so that if you have a slice, there's one less slice for someone else to have. It really doesn't work that way. So I tell people, especially seniors who've put in years and years in the workplace, etc., effectively, it's a tiny fraction of their tax dollar that they've paid into over the years coming back to help them out in a time of need. So it's definitely not a situation where if um, Leah were to enroll in SNAP, there would be less SNAP dollars available to me. Um, so no, I would say definitely you're not taking a benefit away from someone else if you were to enroll.
That's great. Anyone else want to chime in on that?
No, but I think that is one of the biggest myths when it comes to SNAP. A lot of people think that they're taking away from others, and that's definitely not the case when it comes to SNAP.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
We had,
SNAP and other, sorry, Leah.
you're fine.
SNAP and other food assistance resources are not just for people who have hit absolute rock bottom.
Yeah.
A favorite client quote, actually from COA, is food assistance is for anybody who needs it. And that could not ring more true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We all have to eat and we all deserve to eat good food.
Sure.
And have enough to buy that good food and not forego some of our medications or, seeing our doctor when we need to. We have another question that came up. Can grandparents include grandchildren they are caring for on their SNAP application?
Yes, they can, and that's actually quite a common scenario is grandparents caring for grandchildren full time. So as long as the grandparents are responsible for a food budget for those grandchildren, then yes, absolutely.
Good question.
Very good question. Very good question. And more we see that happening in our communities, that grandparents are playing that parental role. And so that is adding to their fixed income. So very important, very important. And I think just kind of, I'd like to do a final go around. If everyone has, I know Justine, you've shared a couple of really great anecdotes. If you have any anecdotal stories or experiences you've had with seniors and that you'd like to share as to the benefits of getting SNAP benefits, and just a plug for SNAP benefits and why seniors should enroll.
I have a quick story to tell you. I was working with a client. I actually started working with the client's daughter. The daughter called me concerned about her parents, and not so much about food insecurity, but other issues that we were working towards. During all that, the lady's husband passed away, and she had always wanted to have a big family gathering for a holiday, and she wasn't able to because of money and illness and things like that. Well, after we spoke to her and her family about SNAP, we got her applied, and she saved up her benefit, and had her entire family come to town, and she had a big Thanksgiving dinner, and it was huge. The way she told the story is a little bit different than me telling the story. It was moving because her whole family was together, and she was proud to be able to pay for it. So that was a good story.
That's a great story, and also a great plug for SNAP benefits right there. Jason, do you want to share?
I don't have one particular story on the top of my head right now, but I have over the years worked with hundreds and hundreds of folks, a lot of them seniors. And I would tell you, in my experience, it's definitely making a difference in people's lives. And it's definitely, commonly, it can mean the difference between someone on a fixed income and that kind of tight at the end of the month where they're facing that very difficult decision of, do I buy food for this week or do I buy the medicine I need for the rest of the month or whatever? And being in that position is terrible, and being forced to make that choice is terrible. But enrollment in the SNAP program can really, it can bring in additional food dollars to the budget every month and alleviate some of those other financial pressures, so that hopefully if someone were to enroll in SNAP, they wouldn't have to make that difficult choice of either buying the food they need or the medicine they need.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us today, both our panelists, Jason Turnbull, Justine, and Robert. And we are so happy you were able to join us. We've got some resources in the comments, but you can always contact MANNA FoodBank at mannafoodbank.org, or you can call our food helpline at 800-820-1109. And you can reach Council on Aging at www.coabc.org. Again, thank you for joining us today, and happy eating. Bye-bye.